Our hearts beat to the city streets. We began to feel the fire. We rise like tall buildings as the chemicals, they take us higher. The night's young, it has just begun as she puts her hand.
Hello and welcome to Home and Mom Stories. Thank you for stopping by. Before I started growing plants, I was so amazed to think that how beautiful it is to bring a little patch of nature inside the four walls of your home and to add so much of life here and there. When I started my journey as a plant parent, I made many mistakes and killed many plants. And after trying and learning different ways to give that tender loving care to those green creatures, now I am incredibly happy to call myself a proud plant parent. This video is a kind of compilation of all the important pointers which I have learned over a period of time through my mistakes and some good research, which will definitely help you transform your indoor space with lush and thriving plants. So stay tuned. Different plants have different needs, so consider the conditions in your house before making any purchases. I strongly suggest that before buying any plant, do consider the areas of your home to which you would like to add some greenery. Keep an eye over the amount of direct or indirect light that receives. Do some research to help figure out what to pick and where to put it. And when you finally decide that, it comes to plant shopping. Also keep in mind what size plant would be a good fit for the part of your place. I mean a tiny succulent or a giant monstera or trailing pothos, which one would elevate the aesthetic of that corner. I understand the beauty of house plants lies in their diverse shapes, colors and textures, which add visual interest to indoor spaces. But at the same time, one must have to consider their suitability within the households, how much maintenance those plants need, and your convenience accordingly really matters. While selecting a plant to buy, do check the labels suggesting the light requirements and care instructions for a particular plant. Secondly, before making a final decision, observe the plant thoroughly to check for the pest because obviously you don't want to bring home insect infestation. And finally, look for a new foliage. If you find one, you can go ahead with that plant. Repotting is recommended for a new plant because it might have outgrown roots or definitely one might like to replace the pot. I would suggest to wait for at least a week or two just to allow some time to acclimate to the new environment and overcome the stress that happened while shifting and moving. While selecting the pot, choose the one with the drainage holes at the very bottom so that the water doesn't sit at the bottom. Any type of material should be fine. Plastic, ceramic, terracotta, all works well for me as far as drainage holes are there. Also keep in mind how big your plant is expected to grow. I mean consider repotting monstera or ficus plants in medium to big size pot so you don't have to repot them anytime soon. When it comes to soil, consider using a soil which is well draining. I prefer to use a store-bought potting soil and mix it with perlite to get a better drainage and aeration. Sunlight is undoubtedly the most important element required for your plants to grow and thrive. Some plants need more, and some can do well in less light as well. If you choose to keep your plant in a darker place, don't forget to move them in a brighter light for some time whenever it is possible. Here in Canada, it becomes difficult to get plenty of sunlight during the winters. So I prefer to move my plants near the windows, and alternatively, I also use an artificial grow light. I recently got this LED grow light. This light comes with a heavy duty clamp to have an excellent grip and makes it easier to attach to the odd places like this one. The best thing I like about this light is that it comes with an adjustment to choose for the right intensity of the light. So one can select based on their needs. It also has an inbuilt timer, so one can adjust it to get an artificial light for a specific duration while those gloomy winter weather. The other most important and most critical part of plant care and growth is the amount of water and the frequency of watering. Although each plant needs different amount of water, there are some thumb rules to understand. Most of the times, the reason behind a dying plant is over or underwatering. Underwatering doesn't suffice the basic necessity for the plant growth, and overwatering might cause root rot and fungus in the plant. So before watering, I always check the soil, and if the first 2 inches of soil seems dry, then I water the plant thoroughly until a little bit of water starts coming out in the drainage plate, so that all the roots throughout the bottom of the plant get saturated with water, and then I discard any extra water if accumulated. Additionally, the temperature of water also affects the plant. I would suggest to use a room temperature water for these house plants. Well, when something is planted in a fixed amount of soil, it eventually becomes deficient in the vital nutrients required for the plant health and growth. So, plant food or fertilizer is another important component contributing to the development and growth of these plants. I feed my plants with all-purpose fertilizer every month in spring and summer, and every 2 to 3 months in the winters, because that is the time when the growth slows down. While preparing the fertilizer, I would strongly suggest to follow the instructions on the label of your fertilizer packet, which is basically a dilution ratio. Overuse of fertilizer may also sometimes affect the plant negatively. I do saturate the soil thoroughly from top to bottom while adding a fertilizer. To keep insects and bugs away, I inspect my plants for any visible signs of infestation every time I water them. If detected, I would try to get rid of them right away with safe and suitable measures. Wherever possible, I give a good wash to the plant or spray some water and lemon juice or neem oil mixture. Let it sit for a while and then wipe it off with a clean microfiber cloth. Dust and accumulated particles can block sunlight, so it is recommended to clean the plants and leaves to have a powerful photosynthesis. To remove this dust and particles from the plant, I give it a good shower every 15 days. And for those plants with large leaves, I prefer to wipe down the leaves with a damp microfiber cloth. And while wiping out, don't forget the underneath of the leaf because that part also accumulates a lot of dirt. And for those plants who don't like much water, I clean them occasionally with a soft paintbrush. That way, I can get rid of all the accumulated dirt without even damaging the delicate surface of a plant. If the plant is not growing well, in spite of everything keeping the right way, pruning and removing the dead leaves can definitely help them. Removing the dead leaves can help the plant direct the nutrients to the other parts, and pruning the top growth will encourage a new growth from the other nodes, and the plant will look healthy and bushier. Lastly, show your plants care and attention. Regular interactions such as wiping leaves, removing dry and dead leaves, giving support to the leaning branches, or taking a moment to adore a new leaf or flower or roots fosters a healthier environment. And this is all I do to keep my plants healthy and thriving. Hope this will be helpful to all the plant parents or beginners out there. If so, consider giving a like and share with someone who is looking for such information. Also, if you happen to have any other questions or any further helpful tips, feel free to leave them in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Till then, happy living and happy planting. Bye for now.